live content. We also have in many of our countries, like even Mediaset in Spain, decided to just stop using satellites. In the same time, as another trend important is we see all the major European telco going to sport production, high quality sports production, and promoting those IP banded technologies. So it can give many names, BT Sports, Orange, Vodafone. They are all very much helping the technology vendors such as TVU to embrace this technology and make them affordable for everyone. Also, what we see more and more, the adoption of our IP banded technology for contribution, but also replacing for the distribution part, the satellite traditional way of sharing content. For example, and I think it's an interesting one, NX, that used to be only about sharing news using satellite technology, now is using IP banded technology for contribution and distribution. And another important customer and partner is EBU that produce more and more content. And without saying that we see, of course, news agencies getting not only satellite and fiber technology, but using IP banded technologies. The last, and I think very important also trend that helps a lot the adoption of remote production and our tool is to see that it's not only about just getting the video and audio feeds from the field to a destination, but also the use of PTZ remote control cameras. So this is in parallel of the live transmission, the IP live transmission from the field, and it helps reducing again the equipment and team involved on site for every event. So when you reduce the number of people on site, you also reduce the cost, and that makes also a big difference when you want to produce content in very specific location where it's difficult to have journalists and cameras everywhere, like for ski competition or marathon. Then you can put pre-installed cameras on location and just control the video and audio, but also the PTZ cameras themselves. And we did saw that big use of PTZ control for the last Olympic Games, and also, as I said, for many ski competition. Now, just to give you also another interesting fact about production. 99% of sports doesn't get live. Only premium sports gets live. So there's a huge need of having tools, reliable, easy to use, but also cost effective to allow more sports production, which means many sports that never was able to get live so far, now can get live. And even now with a tool such as TVU Producer, a single operator can run a full entire production. With remote production, you produce from anywhere with anyone. In other words, for production company, your team can now produce way more event and content than they used to do before. So TVU, yes, offer for remote production, high quality, reliable, cost-effective suites of solutions and tools. It serves from contribution, production, but also distribution of these contents. And very important, all natively integrated and connected all together. The users doesn't need multiple tools or different interfaces, which also involves complicated training for the operators, and sometimes creating hazardous results or issues with integration of third-party tools to make just one live. So TVU really is a major actor in the remote production, also because we have this streamlined, easy to use line of components for remote production.
Well, thanks, JC. That's a great overview of some of the key European trends and some of the key European players as well. Of course, no one size fits all. So let's talk about the different types of remote production we're currently seeing. Yoni, can you take us through some of the latest hybrid and more affordable solutions that are out there? You're on mute, I think.
Good point.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, so indeed, like we all know, like the different models, I would say that the oldest one, maybe, and more traditional one would be like all the major football venues or stadium that have like dedicated fiber line to a remote studio. I mean, I would give the example of Media Pro with La Liga, because they are our neighbors in Spain. They are just in front of our office. But like from that model, which is very reliable but very costly as well, like we've seen like an evolution of like hybrid models where you are able to combine actually some hardware infrastructure. So for example, having an encoder at the venue that like connect all the camera together, and just having a decoder at a remote location, being able to just receive all the feeds, and you do the production from your existing studio, which a lot of the time is unused. Like there are a lot of studios that are during the weekend, like in low usage. So that's a very good way to like, I would say like use like the equipment and maximize like your return on investment. And the last way that, I mean, we did spend a lot more time talking about it today is also the cloud native approach. So like fully cloud native is something that has been slow in a way to adopt. I mean, it's been starting in the last 5 years, I would say already. But like, I mean, yeah, a lot of people have been trying it, but feeling like they were missing some stuff, or like the stability was not there yet. And we see today how a lot of broadcasters, sports and news broadcasters, have embraced really like the cloud native environment and over public internet, which, I mean, really, like JC said, allows you to produce a lot more events. I mean, 99% of the sports events are not being produced, and allows you as well to build more content on top of existing programs. It's not only about new event, but for example, I think we'll go through it with Fernando later, but like just putting regionalization of your content, and maybe like remote commentaries in some local languages, so that you can like now broadcast your content on other regions that are like maybe super interested in football or like handball or whatever the sports. Okay,
that's great. Thanks, Yanni.
So yeah, I'm sorry for you. I just wanted to add that last sentence because it was a customer that said that one day, and I find it like funny. It's like it was saying basically what we are doing is like, it's not an OB van anymore. It's like you can still be in a van if you want, but with your laptop and a phone, or with your laptop and a backpack, and that's all. I mean, that's all you need. So it's I found the parallel like funny in a way that that's really what it is, and that's the new ways of producing today. Thank you, Fergal.
Okay, great. Thanks, Yanni. So now we've looked in some detail at remote production trends and evolution. So let's talk about some of the limitations and benefits of each model. Fernando, what are some of the innovations that excite you the most?
Well, thank you, Fergal. As we see here in the slide that we are sharing, we encounter different elements with different latencies, right? And I guess this is one of the constraints that we find whenever we are into a cloud production environment, right? So, I mean, for example, the REMI concept that Johnny and JC was talking about a few minutes ago, as they say, this is not something new, right? This is a really old concept during the years, but when COVID started, we needed to decentralize, right, that type of workflow. So at that moment, this decentralization introduced new challenges, right, in the middle of the equation, in the middle of the workflow. Okay, and so a couple of those challenges that we are facing, just to bring a few of them, right, is like for example, the operators need to have a super low latency remote control, for example, right? And that is something that at the beginning you were trying to remote connect whatever surface you had in the production gallery, right, into the operator home or into the operator remote location, right? And this introduces that as a new challenge. Okay, how we can get low latency control response, okay, for those kind of surfaces that we were using to produce, right? And again, speaking about low latency, talking about low latency, we need to be able to have all the production crew, whatever they are, right, be able to monitor the program, basically, right, the video feeds, what is happening in the real production, right? And we need to have that in a really low latency manner, okay? So again, this is another challenge that and we faced. I say we because I was part of, I come, as you said, from the broadcast industry, right? And we were part of that evolution, right? And then when you have all these decentralized elements, then we introduce what we call, okay, synchronization, how we can get all the sources, controls, actions, right, modifications, synchronized all together, okay, to be combined into a single production flow, right? I guess those are the main, at least for us, the main challenges that decentralized production and cloud production introduce, okay, to the equation. But again, this is not any issue anymore because we are solving all those problems, right, or those challenges, right? Day after day, we are developing the tools, we are improving the tools, right? And in the other hand, right, benefits are the most here, right? Okay, I can start saying that you don't need any infrastructure, right? This is like decentralized production using cloud production, right? Remote production. You don't need that much of infrastructure anymore, okay? It's a matter of services and when do you need those services and who is able or who should be able to use those services, when and where, right? But again, I guess one way, and I will pass to Johnny and JC so we can discuss a little bit more about the benefits of the decentralized production. But one way that we are using to solve the synchronization challenge is the timestamp. Okay, we in TVU have this timestamp feature. So we timestamp all the sources, okay, throughout the entire ecosystem. Okay, so every single source that we take in gets timestamped. So we can use that in what we call our real-time interaction layer. Okay, so we use like a layer for the operators to interact and to control over, right? So everybody sees everything at the same time, and wherever they are taking an action, we will timestamp that action into that single frame, and then the action will occur at that exact timestamp. Okay, so that is how we solve, okay, synchronization. So you don't need anymore to struggle with latency, with adding delays in your facility infrastructure, so you can match, right, audio with video. With TVU, we timestamp all the sources, all the actions, all the resources and services, and then in the back end, everything gets synchronized. Okay, so going back to you, Johnny and JC, on the benefits. Okay, so we can keep discussing.
So Fernando, thanks a lot for this great presentation of the challenges. What I would like to highlight is the synchronization, the timestamp of the streams is very important, not only for sports, but also for news production. When you have the same show being, for example, produced in different language, so you have different stand-up and different journalists. And the challenge is to get all those feeds frame accurate, synced, and this is exactly where the TVU solution brings a very good response, because it doesn't matter if you are producing news or sports, we always get the different multi-camera feeds synced together. Now, of course, there are other benefits for the decentralized production. We talked about it, but that's very important. As we just said, many events still doesn't get live, especially in sports. So when you decentralize the production, it also ensures that the travel costs are less. And this is, of course, better for the environmental impact. And this is also faster to set up. You reduce the number of hours. And I will give you a very nice example with the US Open Golf, where in the past, you need to dig in the ground to put fiber and like miles of fiber connection just to create the live. And now just come with backpacks like 2 days before with minimum teams, and you just achieve the same quality and the same level of production, and you also distribute the content on the very same way, but reducing the cost. Of course, it also means that with the years and the simplification of the user interface and let's say the performance of the tool, you need less skills